Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Cassidy. I am a pediatric chiropractor at CHIRO for KIDZ. So glad you're here because today we are talking about colic. We are going to figure out if your babe has colic, what might be causing it, including those common trigger foods when we're talking about baby or infantile colic. Without further ado, let's just dive right in. So, does your baby have colic? In order to find that out, we're going to use the rule of 3. You're going to ask yourself these 3 questions. Does your baby cry for longer than 3-hour episodes, more than 3 days a week, and has that been going on for more than 3 weeks? 3 weeks in newborn time is a really long time, and I totally understand that. I will also say that a lot of parents report that they are dealing with these long episodes of irritability, fussiness, inconsolable crying more than 3 days a week. It's almost daily. If that's you, you're in the right space. Let's talk about what might be causing these symptoms in your babe. Once you understand that the word colic stems from the word colon, it becomes really easy to understand what might be causing your babe's colic symptoms. Oftentimes, it's related to the gut, like the name indicates. There are 3 conditions that are commonly associated with colic symptoms. They are reflux, gas, and constipation. I would say the most common being gas. And talking about gut health and the health of your baby's microbiome in their gut, that gas component makes a lot of sense. So how does your baby get their gut microbiome, and how do we make sure that's healthy? Well, your babe's gut microbiome gets populated from mom. It gets populated through breast milk and then through delivery if that delivery is vaginal. Yes, breastfed babies can get colic. How does this happen? If a baby is breastfed and vaginally birthed, they should have a healthy and populated gut, but that is not always the case because breast milk and its ability to populate a healthy microbiome for your baby is solely dependent on mom's gut health. So I encourage you, if you're someone that's dealing with colic symptoms and you exclusively breastfeed, look at adding a probiotic in every day for mom. We shared our favorites in the blog post that I linked in the video's description. But that is kind of the first layer of defense for those breastfed babies. Look at mom's gut health because that is what's influencing your baby's gut microbiome. Other things to consider: if you or your babe has had to take a round of antibiotics for whatever reason, incorporating, again, a daily probiotic is a great idea because those antibiotics wipe out our healthy gut microbiome, and a probiotic can help reestablish that for mom, especially for breastfeeding. For formula-fed babies, we want to add in a daily probiotic since they aren't getting that healthy bacteria from the breast milk from mom. We shared our favorites in the blog post that's linked in the description. Go check those out. And it should be really helpful. You're also going to want to look at your formula. A lot of formula can have a high amount of lactose and not a lot of the enzyme that breaks down lactose, which can be really upsetting for babe and it can cause a lot of gas. So look for a formula that is allergen free. We'll get to allergens next. And maybe one that is lower in the cow milk category, or one that includes that enzyme to help your baby digest those milk proteins. Before we get into the common food sensitivities that are related to colic, I want to mention one more condition or common issue that can really influence fussiness and irritability in babes, and that is oral ties. I'm talking tongue ties and lip ties and overall issues breastfeeding or bottle feeding. When we are having latch or feeding issues, it's common for babe to consume air as they are feeding, which eventually will cause those gas issues and irritability later down the road, probably that day for that parent. So we need to look at those oral ties. We need to look at the functionality of those ties, if it's something that can be fixed or addressed with craniosacral therapy, or if we need to get a pediatric dentist involved for a tie revision. Just something to think about if you are also dealing with latch or breastfeeding issues and colic symptoms. Put a little alarm bell that you might be looking at a oral tie, a lip tie, or a tongue tie. And finally, let's cover the common food sensitivities or common food triggers that may be influencing your babe's colic symptoms. When we're talking about food sensitivities, the three most common are dairy, wheat, and soy. So we can think about that if we are talking formula, and we can also think about that in terms of mom's diet for breastfed babies. Consider an elimination diet if the other solutions aren't working for you. It's good to know if your little one has a food sensitivity, because they can lead to other issues down the road if that food isn't eliminated from their diet. Eczema is a big one. ADHD is also another big one. So, not the end of the world. It's a hurdle. You got this. But consider eliminating if those seem to be an issue for your babe. Other common trigger foods are chocolate, spicy foods, and fizzy drinks, So those would be other considerations to avoid or at least cut back on to see if they are triggering your babe's colic symptoms. Now that you know if your baby has colic and you know the common causes, you know the common trigger foods, what's next? I encourage you to go check out our other colic videos. We have a lot of techniques that address a lot of the common issues associated with colic, the reflux, the constipation, and the gas. Also, be sure to read our blog post on colic. It shares some therapeutic advice and some information about how chiropractic care may help your little one if you're dealing with colic, and how craniosacral therapy has actually been proven in research to help babies with colic. Be sure to check that out and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. We'll see you next time.